So dummy. Now we're live. Hey, Scott, you got something? You did. Hold up your book again.
Okay, so
yeah, and give the same. give the same thing.
So I bought this book a while back. It's the Mutant Empire, and I really liked it. I mean, I have the audiobook even.
Who was the main artist on all that? They didn't stick with one artist throughout that run, did they? That's huge.
Oh no! It's a book. It's a
novel. It's a book.
It's a book with.
Good Lord! I didn't know. I thought that it was just packed.
Read that book? You read that whole book?
Yeah.
Scott is a heck of a reader.
I like to read. If I could do anything with my time, I'd probably sit down and read as much as anything else.
Yeah, it's good for the old brain. And then this thing that you.
So then I bought. Well, okay. So we went to Atlanta. We went to Atlanta last week. And I found a hardcover on Amazon, and this is old. This is from the first one I showed up is still in print. This is from the 90s, and it's got all three of them in there, and it's a little more manageable because it's not as much of a thick brick. But I hate this dust jacket, so that's why I made.
Now we'll share this again.
Yeah, I share that.
I do the things like that.
Yeah, I do things like that to obsession. Do I need to click this, or are you sure?
There it is.
So this is the dust jacket I did. I think all these drawings are Jim Lee. I'll show you. I'll show you some of what I did.
Let me do that again. I don't know what I did wrong. Cancel. Here we go. There we go.
So I actually took, because a big part of the story takes place in New York City, where Magneto partitions off the city, and he creates like a mutant haven kind of. So I wanted the city to be in it. That's the one part I don't like about what I did, because I took a photo, and I kind of made a halftone. It doesn't quite look quite right, but you can't see much of it between the Sentinel. You can just see a little bit up here.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you just blended it back into it a little bit.
It's covered, but I mean, see, that's a halftone.
Yeah.
If I zoom in on it,
that's pretty cool. Yeah, Mario and I, right before you got on with us, we were talking about Photoshop, and Mario's been with Photoshop since
version 1.
Version 1.
Really? That's the history of Photoshop is pretty interesting.
87, 88.
I remember back in the mid-90s, we were all just like dubious that a person was ever going to be able to feel like they could paint with it. And of course now, fantastic.
It was pretty clumsy in the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Well, that's paintings. When Mac and PCs weren't compatible.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I'm working in a corporate situation where we're supposed to be creating artwork for the PCs, mostly business computers. So there was a lot of fussing around for every little detail. Everything was 10 times more complicated, even though now things are complicated in a different way.
Yeah.
It's a trade-off. You get more power. I do have, I'm still waiting for my reviews.
We're supposed to give you reviews for
Goddess of Pigland.
Okay. And you both said, well, especially Scott.
We said we were going to do it. Okay, that's on the list tonight. I'll get on there before my internet cracks out again.
Scott, you were praising it, so I think in honesty, you can put down,
Yeah, no. I'll review.
Well, obviously, I wouldn't try to get someone who hated it to review it, because that would be imbecilic.
Yes, that would be imbecilic.
I've got some sort of troll that went on and reviewed my stuff, and he always used the same review. It was just like,
oh, he went after you.
Yeah, he just went after me with just a couple of throwaway lines.
Somebody off. She was my language, but you did.
Yeah, and it makes me.
You never even know when that happens.
Evan's Rejects was like that. The only review we got was a guy that just panned it.
Yeah. And just to throw away a couple of lines about how much they hate it. Yeah.
I put a cartoon strip up, and there was a questionable. I mean, I knew what I was doing when I did the cartoon strip, and it went over the border. Good taste in one area. I'll tell you what it was. I had the Kung Fu Family cartoon strip. Yeah. And the father is grabbing his daughter's breasts and saying, "Oh, you're turning into a real woman." And she freaked, and she goes, "Dad," you know. Mm-hmm. But that was it. Yeah. And I had two guys, you know, condemning me to hell.
Well, yeah, that'll happen when someone decides they need to get on you from afar. It's the one of our societal problems right now is these people that well, you know, Comicsgate, Scott, that whole you know, they aren't happy unless they're in some sort of flame war. That's what you call it, a flame war, you know.
It happened with miniatures too. I was on the miniature. I came out with the last time it came out with the whole line. What was it, like 7 figures, I think. Mm-hmm. Not the Kung Fu Family miniatures. They did well. Those are probably my best ones so far. Mm-hmm. But I did 7 larger. They were larger, you know. And the scale creep was the thing that was happening, and they also matched. I don't know if you've ever seen Super Figs. Those are superhero lines. They're really nice.
Mm-hmm. No, I haven't.
Super Figs. Yeah, that's what they're called. And those were larger than, they were like 28, 30 millimeter. Oh, and we were switching over from 25s to 20. The industry is at 28 now, 28 millimeter, mostly. Yeah. But I was on the miniatures page, which was a hub then. I don't know how popular it is now, if it still is popular, but it was. Mm-hmm. Games Workshop was pouring cash into there, and I got into a flame war with the guys from Games Workshop because I called Games Workshop fascist. They took over the industry.
Yeah, well,
they did it big time.
Well, there is that sort of thing happens, you know. It's like if you're with the big boys, all of a sudden you feel like you need to trot on everything around you. Yeah,
it was business, you know. But and they had good products too. They had great products.
Yeah, and
super expensive. But.
Well, and now, you know, when I went back to playing a few years ago, you know, my first thing was I'm going to find a miniature of my character, and I went out and I was shocked to discover most of the miniatures now are plastic. You have to kind of go out your way to find a metal miniature.
No.
Okay, maybe in Oklahoma.
In the stores, you mean? In the stores?
Yes.
Okay.
In the stores.
Yeah, not online.
Yeah.
There's a million.
Well, that's what I ended up doing. I was trying to find them locally because I wanted to see them, you know.
Yeah, you want something substantial that thunks down on that board when
if you want, I can send you some of the links for the best ones if you want.
Hang on, I'm gonna go grab. Hang on, give me a second. I'm gonna go grab mine. I want to show them to you, Mario.
Okay. I'll solo you again. You're the only one with soloing content.
Ellis, you can see that what happens when you get involved in this stuff, you know.
Yeah. Well, I've said often that every little group that forms up of fan communities is just like, it's about 3 months away from breaking up with ill feelings. You know, it's just that's the way it is. The people have got a predictable kind of arc on their tolerance for each other.
I had my group from my guys from Oklahoma, OU. Mm-hmm. We stayed together. I'm still sending correspondence back and forth.
Well, yeah, if you don't have any outliers, then you're kind of like a mix.
I had, you had disputes. We had people, people have problems and they come to the game. And
let me solo you there, Scott.
You can see this.
I couldn't see that.
There you go, solo.
Closer?
No, you're focused on where I can see it's a magician or whatever.
Yeah, it's a magician.
Yeah.
I went to the comic shop and I was telling the guy who sold all the plastic miniatures, I'm looking for a lead figure. And
cup it in the middle of your palm and have it stick.
Pewter.
Pewter.
There you go. There you go. That'll work any better.
I think they outlawed lead right at the end of the last century.
Oh, yeah, I imagine they don't have lead allowed. I would have bet.
So the guy, I told him I'm playing a wizard and I want a metal figure.
Did you paint it?
He went in the back and he found this, and it's from like the 70s.
Wow.
It's part of
it. Looks like, I can't see it clearly, but it looks like old Ralph Pother.
I think
it needs a white background.
Read the label on the bottom. Is there a label on the bottom?
79, Ralph Partha.
Oh, Ralph Partha.
It's part of a series.
Yeah.
They did called it came in a 3-pack of necromancers.
Like early different stages of his development.
Yeah. So I used this for a long time, but it was smaller than everybody else's, and this is, and I don't know if you'll be able to see
25.
This is the one I ended up using. I'll send you all pictures.
You need light there. That's why we can't see it. There's no light.
Yeah.
Hang on. Maybe I can fix that.
I got my flashlight.
Got my phone.
Well, your phone would work.
Oh, look at that. That's exactly how ingenious. Look at this.
But hold it where the light is facing the figure instead of underneath it.
There you go.
Better. Well,
but it's still out of focus.
Yeah.
But we get it. Yeah. But we got the shadow shapes.
So anyway. We're not going to be showing off miniatures here because you can't see them.
Yeah. I'll take a picture and send it to you guys.
Or I could show mine and tell you that they're really great and you wouldn't know.
I would know they're great.
Some of them aren't that great, though. I had one where I was trying to make a kind of a wolf or some kind of monstrosity, a wolf-looking thing. And it just never. It got too fat. I put too much fur on it, and it just.
It would be nice to have the ability to sculpt whatever you wanted to do in Super Sculpey. Do a scan of it, and then it does a 3D printing of it.
Well, they're doing that's what the 3D printers do now.
That's what we do in my work.
You could scan a sculpt.
Yes.
Oh, wow, cool.
All the time.
Oh my gosh.
I keep telling you need to come to my work. I'll give you a tour. You'd be amazed.
Okay, just a quick side trip on what I've been up to. I took the last of the female cats into the animal welfare place right by where you work, Scott. I had 3 opportunities in the last 10 days that I was over there. I had 3 successful captures of cats that were going to threaten me with a kitten baby boom. And no more. I solved it.
But did you brought the cats home though, right?
They drop them off in the neighborhood. They're right back on the chow line. One of them I brought, the first one I turned in is already back. And I'm petting one in my lap that I got fixed a long time ago that caused all the problem. This one.
I like cats.
Yeah, except this one's hair.
Feral cats here.
Feral cats, yeah, that's all I've got.
And we have a lot of bears. We have a lot of bears here.
Bears?
I don't go out that much, and I've seen bears like 10 times or 5 times.
The black bears that everybody think is going to be cute and friendly, and they'll still mess you up. They'll attack you.
Okay, solo my page. I
will now solo your page. Wait a second.
Do you see it with the miniature?
Yeah, I see it. I can't add to stage. There it is.
Okay,
yeah.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yes, that's that. I recognize that figure. I have that figure. I have that.
So that's the one I used for a while, but you're right. It's about 3 millimeters shorter than the other figures. Right. And I like the figure, but so that's the original one, and I painted it, and then this is the one that I bought.
Groovy. I like that one.
I painted it.
That reminds me of Underground Comics. Where that reminds me of Corben. Actually, that face is pure.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't sculpt it. I just painted it. But
now, what is that? A photo of it?
Yeah, it's a photo. It's a photo of this figure.
Okay.
The other one. I just right now. I took a photo and emailed it to myself.
Okay.
So this is instant. This is the same timeline we're talking about, the you trying to show it to us and then you solving it this way. Very cool.
Yes, but so that was my.
I like his big old thumping cane there. I like it. That's cool.
Yeah, one of the things that they do, and Mario, you can agree or disagree with this, but one of the things I think they do with modern miniatures is they overemphasize like the features, like
the details.
Like how big his
Too many
hands
details. Too many details. And this isn't even bad. This one's not bad. The ones that are exaggerated, they have way too much junk on them.
Yeah.
First of all, every figure must be rich because they're they're attired in regalia, and they're always in these weird poses. I don't I like it. When I started out, there was minifigs which were very plain, and they were great because you're holding them at arm's length. You don't need that detail.
Right. I actually like the older figure better. Just because, to me, it was just real nostalgic to play with a figure from the 70s, and I was like, if I'm going to play,
there's nothing wrong with using them.
No. And I
wish I could use my figures.
if I was going to play and put some time into it, I wanted a metal figure.
Hey,
plastic bases.
Is pewter magnetic?
No,
it's not. It's not a magnetic metal. Okay.
We cast pewter at my work. We cast pewter and zinc.
Zinc, you got to watch that stuff.
Well, I don't think it's straight zinc. It's kind of we refer to it as zinc, but it's some sort of soft metal.
I never will. A guy gave me the tip saying, these people that sometimes will get a zinc grill out of a refrigerator and try to turn it into something, like some sort of a homeless camp where they're cooking on something like that. That zinc in smoke. If you smoke a zinc, or
inhale the vapors.
You inhale the vapors. It's bad for you. Yeah.
We used to do zinc etching at my work, but we stopped in the 90s because of the you have to use acid and the sludge.
We were using acid in what was it, printmaking in OU in the printmaking department, and I almost passed out one day. I was working. I almost passed out from the fumes.
Yeah, you may have scars throughout important tissues that you don't even know about. Yep.
Well, I'm sure I do. Unfortunately, I sniffed glue when I was young.
So it doesn't much matter,
So,
just scarred by scars.
Have many brain cells left.
Yeah.
Well,
not to mention drinking and other drugs.
Mario, I was going to ask you. I was curious because the Medieval Fest is this weekend. Did you? Or I'm sorry, the Renaissance, whatever they call it, in
Renaissance Fair.
Yeah. Medieval Fair. Yeah.
Medieval Fair. Did you go to that?
I did when I was. Where did I go? I've seen it. I've been to a couple of those. I think. You have. I think.
Yeah, I was in Norman. It was.
There was one in Norman.
Yeah.
And I also hooked up with what was it? What the hell's the name of it? The ones that dressed up before they started having the festivals.
The Creative
Anachronism. Society for Creative Anachronism. And I did a short video for them.
Oh, I could stop sharing, I guess.
Oh, what's this? Okay. I assumed you had something new you wanted to show me.
Well, you clicked off me, so I closed that window. I was just
Creative
curious,
Anachronism, huh?
Because the medieval,
which the title throws you off a little bit because they're doing the same. They're role playing.
Yeah,
it was the early stages of LARP.
Yeah,
live role playing.
So is a creative anachronism somewhat like steampunk because they're trying to bring forward stuff that
they recreate a medieval lifestyle or imitating their characters from medieval and fantasy realms.
Probably about every other weekend I go to this park and there's a group there that has like the foam swords and stuff, and they are really well organized on, how they clash and stuff. It's pretty fun to watch. I especially like the ones that are trying to time getting around a mace, when they're spinning that. That's pretty good to try to watch people defeat the idea of the mace, the spinning mace.
So a guy from work is going to the Medieval Fest, and I asked him. I said, "Well, I've never been." I said, "What do you do?" And he said, "Oh, I want to go and I want to watch them he said, "I want to go because they sell ninja weapons and throwing stars." I said, "Wait a minute."
They have joust, they have guys in horses. They do. Everybody, a lot of them dress up.
Yeah. And then he wanted to eat a turkey leg.
Eat a turkey leg and have a big flagon of beer. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But, from Yukon to Norman, or from my house to Norman is quite
And
a
in
way.
fact, the comic book conventions grew out of that too.
Yeah.
And I tell you, wild. Wow.
They used to do that at San Diego on the back steps, Ellis. They would have those guys in armor fighting.
Yes. No, I've seen it. I've seen the clashes. Yep.
Yeah. I don't think they used foam. I don't think they used foam weapons. I think they used. Now, I don't think they were trying to take each other's heads off, but they had real armor on and stuff.
Yeah. They go the trouble of really, making it a little more real to themselves, I guess.
Yeah.
I was at a thing, a contest, the LARPing, as you call it, with the costumes and everything. They had Klingons and a whole bunch of stuff. From Star Trek, probably Next Generation, because he had the old moldy head and all that. And I never will forget Doug Tenaple was right next to me, and they were enacting some sort of conflict, and Doug screamed, "Stab him in the head," because he had that big head prosthetic.
Yeah, it's weak stuff.
So it's like I'll always remember that. The scream from the audience, "Stab him in the head." Hey,
now, Scott, I'm sorry.
That brings it all back. Talking about San Diego cons. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry,
Scott took me to the what was that at the
New York Comic Con
Center? Yeah, Javits Center.
Yeah.
And now if you go online, of course, you can see really unbelievable. It's grown.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that, Mario. We went to Atlanta last week, and on the plane coming back, again, I'm going to show you something y'all can't see. On the plane coming back, I went through my photo. I was looking at my photo album on my phone, and I found this photo.
Oh yeah.
That's you.
That's again another one that no one could see.
Yeah, no, I kind of got it.
Yeah. There's one where I'm fighting. I hit Batman, knocked him down. Facebook. It's on Facebook.
But anyway,
someone said they're charging $5 a month for Facebook. Did you hear that?
They are.
Someone said that. Yeah. I've got a lot of stuff on there.
Ellis, this will mean something to you.
Let's see it.
Mario's ticket to the con. I reached out to our friend CB Cebulski, and he got Mario a press pass, and CB Cebulski is now, Mario, the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics. So take that for what you will.
He's still the editor of Marvel Comics. Okay.
I had a story, and
sorry.
Okay.
It was similar to that, and I can't remember what it was. It's amazing
about con life or what?
Well, however, we can move on from there since memory is what it is when it works.
Yeah.
So, Scott, can you help? Ellis is a little iffy about the RPG game.
Yes,
he's willing to try it, but it's new. It's not easy for us old guys to try something like that complicated, to just go breeze into it, because it's harder to process new information or something.
Sure.
You think that's fair, Ellis?
Sure. Scott and I can meet downtown and have a role-playing game in the Freedom Square. Is that what it's called,
Yeah,
Scott?
we could meet at some point. We can arrange something.
I'll send you some more of the rules, Scott.
Okay, yeah, do that.
He's able to digest this stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, he's probably.
Well, I've just done a lot. I'm used to it.
He could mentor me right into it. But but I wonder if it's not like when I had accounting in junior high. That would have been a great course for me. I mean, for anybody to have all that practical stuff.
I agree.
But I've never felt
tuned into that stuff.
I've never felt so tortured in my life.
I had to do it later, but now.
Yeah. I had to quit the class. I said I can't be here, and so I don't know. Maybe this is not for me, but I'm willing to plunge in with Scott if he can mentor me a bit.
I think you can't put the focus on numbers.
Okay.
Because I don't think the number.
Once you learn that stuff, we're going to forget most of it anyway.
Okay.
I like rolling as little as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, a good game. I mean, and that's been my beef with playing. We're playing the new one, or we were till we quit a couple of years ago. We were playing the new one, the new Dungeons and Dragons.
It's still Dungeons and Dragons.
And it's so rule heavy, and you need some rules. Mario, I told you that when I was younger, I had a group of friends I played Dungeons and Dragons with, and a group of friends I played Villains and Vigilantes with.
Right.
And the Villains and Vigilantes guys were all the comic book guys. And the rules for Villains and Vigilantes, it was like one pamphlet that was like 60 pages.
How fast can you make that spin, Ellis?
I was seeing why I'm experimenting.
He's doing it.
I'm trying to see what's the best layout. That's probably the best.
Well, I thought the three.
That looks pretty good.
No. Do the three. Don't do this.
Okay.
Do the three, like the original one. No, do the original one.
There you go. That's pretty good.
But and to me, the rules are just a framework.
Mm-hmm.
So that because and it's just a framework for consistency. In other words, if you have like in a superhero game, if you have like a blaster or some sort of eye blaster, or you blast out your hands or whatever, you have a framework so that so that you don't do it one time and it goes poof, and then another time it just blows over.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a role in there, but you want to know
what stuff that happens in comics. That's exactly what happens in comics.
Well, I know, but you want it. It just
don't you hate it? Don't you hate it when the superhero is beating everybody? He or she beats everybody up in the beginning, and then the MacGuffin guy comes along, totally annihilates this hero, and he'll beat him a couple of times maybe, and then all of a sudden there'll be some deus ex machina that allows the guy to beat him at the end. So that can be annoying, no consistency. And the same in the comics too.
Yeah, the comics are
you gotta have some there's only like I read this, there's like 9 things you could do in a story.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people take the easy way out and grab the obvious.
Yeah.
I did that with humor. I grabbed some jokes.
Yeah, in Goddess of Pigland, which Scott and I are both going to review immediately after this show.
After this is hung up.
Now those jokes, I have to admit, I'm not going to admit that now because we're recording, but I did lift a couple of those jokes.
Those are good jokes.
They're my favorite jokes. Don't you want to share your favorite jokes?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I tell a joke every Monday morning in our meeting, Mario.
Really? What was the joke this Monday?
This one wasn't a good one. I'll tell you a good one.
Okay.
This is the story. This is about the big fire. There was a big fire at the orphanage, at the end of town, and it caught fire. There were kids screaming. People were going crazy. They set out an all alarm, all the fire stations.
You told us this joke.
I did? Okay.
You told us this joke already.
Okay. I will tell you the one from this week then. So the one this week, Ellis, did you remember the joke?
I
did not. There was a little deja vu to it, but I couldn't tell you the punchline.
Okay. So there was a store, and they wanted to start senior hours. So they said, okay, the first hour of the day is only for senior citizens. And so they promoted it. They put this big thing out. They made it going to be senior citizen friendly. They'd play old music. It'd be quiet. They'd have people helping. They'd have plenty of carts, everything, geared towards seniors, only seniors. So the big day for the grand opening comes up, and there's all these senior citizens lined up on the street, and they're waiting to get in. And there's this guy like in his 30s, and he's coming up, and he gets in line, and then he's like moving his way to the front. And these people are like, "What are you doing?" And so they're like grabbing him. They're like, "Hey!" Finally, the mob surrounds him, and they go, "Don't you?" And they're kind of like beating on him and hitting him with their canes and stuff. And they're going, "This is only for senior citizens. You're trying to cut in line." Da 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 da. And he goes, "Hey, if I don't unlock the door, nobody gets in."
Wow,
that's pretty good. Well, you're just not Norm Macdonald. That's the problem.
Okay, I got another one.
The punchline. You see, you built it up too much.
Oh, I did?
I think.
Okay.
I shouldn't. It's my opinion. Don't listen to me.
Okay. Feel free to riff off.
Because you built that up, and then the punchline was a little
flat.
You know what? You can ask Brock. You can ask Brock for a joke from a headline. I did it. I asked Brock for a headline about the controversy about Biden and his auto pen. And it said, it was pretty well formed joke about the only trustworthy member of the cabinet is the auto pen or whatever. It was a pretty good joke.
Okay, let me tell. I got another joke. Okay, so there was this tribe, a tribe of Native Americans, modern day. And
telling a joke is funny. The idea that you're telling a joke right now, that's funny.
Yeah.
So the tribe, they go to the chief and they go, "Chief, what is the winter going to be like?" And so the chief, he was a modern chief. He was good at doing legislation, getting roads built, stuff like that. But he didn't know the ways the ancestors are looking at the nature and telling what the weather was going to be like.
Right.
And so he was kind of dumbfounded, and he said, "We're going to have a bad winter." And they go, "Okay, we're going to prepare." And so they go back, and they're doing all the winter stuff that modern Indians would do. And so then the next week they go back and they go, "Chief, is it still looking to be a bad winter?" And he got a little nervous because he saw everything they were doing, and he said, let me think about it and get back with you. And so he called the National Weather Service, and he said, "Is it going to be a bad winter?" And they go, "Oh yeah, it's going to be a bad winter." He said, "Okay." So he tells them, he goes, "Oh yeah, it's going to be a bad winter." So they redoubled their efforts, and they're doing everything, whatever they're due. And so then they go back to him and they go, "Chief, is this still going to be a bad winter?" And he thought, man, if I'm wrong, he was like he was worried about being wrong. And so he called the National Weather. He said, let me think about it. And called the National Weather Service. Said, "Is it still looking bad?" "Oh yeah, we're even worse than we imagined." And he goes, "Hang on. How do you know?" And they go, "Well, the Indians are really preparing."
I like that one. That's linked up pretty nice. I like that one. That's good.
Mario didn't laugh.
Well, I mean, nobody. Yeah.
I'm laughing. I'm dying on the inside.
Yeah.
We all are.
It's funny. Some of these comedians that have the great laughs, you can tell that they say, "I've got to be a guy that laughs." So they've got a really nice prepared up fake laugh, like what was his name? He died recently. Gilbert Gottfried, and of course it was super obnoxious too. But at least he had a laugh ready. Whereas a guy like Norm Macdonald, he just like barely chuckled or whatever. It was pretty natural. If you got him, you got a barely a chuckle out of him.
Right. Okay, so I got another one. Now, I did not tell this one at work. This is not work appropriate necessarily.
Okay,
but it's not bad. So there was a leprechaun. He was in Ireland, and he had met a priest, and so he was kind of hanging around the priest. And so one day he asked the priest, he goes, "Priest, I couldn't help but notice that you had a leprechaun nun in your parish." And he goes, I'm sorry, son, we don't have a leprechaun nun." And he goes, "Oh my God, I had sex with a penguin."
Ooh.
That's a good one. I like that.
Wow.
No, okay.
That was below the belt. I said that was below the belt, but it wasn't.
Okay.
And nuns, everybody picks on nuns, and that's not bad.
Okay.
I did a line. You've seen them, Scott. I think I did when I did my Kung Fu Family miniatures. They were enemies, and I think I mentioned this to Ellis too. Were the gotta be careful. Lesbian ninja nuns. Undead lesbian ninja nuns.
Oh, that makes it different.
And I had I made the miniatures of that, and that's several groups I've offended now.
Nice. Might as well knock them all down.
The undead lesbian ninja nuns.
Those undead are really going to be offended at that.
That's what I was thinking.
I remember I was in a variation of Toastmasters that met at a place called Funny Bones, and one of the little uses of the space, this was in Culver City, was to let comedians stand up and do their material, try it out. And, they're up there reading off pieces of paper. And I was really struck, it is all 90% stage presence and comfort of being up there. Yeah, confidence and everything. And there's this one guy that was trying out this joke, and I don't know if I've ever heard it commented on. It was in the headlines about face transplants. Someone had a horrific disfiguring thing. Maybe a chimp ripped it off or whatever. Anyway,
when that happens.
Yeah, a chimp ripped his face off.
There was a guy at OU who did that.
Got a face transplant or did face transplants?
Got attacked by a chimpanzee, ripped half of his face off.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It
One
was
of the
in our
researchers.
local. Yeah.
Oh.
So anyway, this comedian's up there saying, the face transplant seems like all right, but of course you got to be a donor too. And it's like, I just couldn't donate my face. It might end up in a homosexual situation. Somebody might be coming all over my face. And because he did it so well, and he shocked you with it, it just made you just crack up.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like, now wait a second, how's this guy go from donating my face to this awful?
I won't do that at work.
Yeah, do that when it works, Scott.
No.
Do it like Norm Macdonald always does when he shows that masturbation thing going on there.
You guys are really disgusting tonight. I'm signing off.
Well,
you're gonna sign off?
I do need to go, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
This is great. This is obvious. I've scared everybody off. Speaking of that, I just decided to narrate the first Charles Bukowski story I ever read. You can find it on my channel if you look for it. It's called It was something about a it's something about a Viet Cong flag. So you can listen to my narration. Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to interrupt. I'll send the link. I'll add the link to this show. Okay.
I gotta go.
We gotta end this stream.
Thanks for the jokes.